Hello and welcome to Purple POV, the podcast that helps brands cut through the noise through bold and brave communications. I'm Lucy McKerron, MD at Purplefish, and I'm going to be your host for today. Now, a few weeks ago, we launched our latest white paper, Influencer Marketing 101, and we launched that because often influencer marketing is seen as a little bit of a dark art. People don't really understand how to get the best out of it, and there's nervousness around putting your brand communications in the hands of someone else. So it felt appropriate to bring this conversation to life in our latest episode of Purple POV. I'm lucky enough to be joined by two special guests today. Firstly, we have Zoe here, one of our senior account managers, who brings a whole host of experience of influencer marketing as part of an integrated marketing approach to supporting brand growth. Zoe, would you like to say a few words about your role?
Yeah, so I'm Zoe. I'm a senior account manager at Purplefish, and throughout my 4 years here, I've worked with many influencers from many different brands, and most recently working alongside Adam and Sixes to launch Sixes Bristol.
And that brings us quite nicely along to our client Adam, who is joining us to talk a little bit around a recent business venture. So Adam has been in the leisure industry business for quite some time, but last year he turned his hand to a new venture, combining leisure with hospitality when he launched Sixes Social Cricket Bristol on the harbour side in our hometown in Bristol. Adam, welcome to Purple POV.
Thank you for having me.
Please tell us a little bit about your career journey and what attracted you to Sixes Social Cricket.
Okay.
Sixes Social Cricket.
Yeah, so, well, we're actually calling ourselves Sixes Party Cricket now, is what
they've
rebranded to
okay.
Party. Yes, because social sounded a bit formal. They feel like
Sixes
a club.
Party
so Sixes
Cricket.
Party Cricket now
Yeah.
because of the atmosphere and the fun. I graduated 20 years ago with a history degree. And then naturally progressed into the crazy golf industry from history, yeah. So my brother is a bit older than me. He was looking for something to do his own business, and we spoke, and we chose Adventure Golf as there wasn't many sites back then. And we tendered for a site in Devon, and we were successful. We've got 2 sites down in Devon. We opened a 3rd site in Essex, where we're from originally. So we had 3 outdoor adventure golf courses, which were all nicely successful. We then did a couple of holiday properties in Devon, and we also did an escape room in Devon, so around the leisure market.
Okay,
staying in that area.
So only natural that you then move on to cricket.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So and then we were plodding along nicely. We always fancied something indoors because our golf sites are outdoors, and obviously open to the elements. So we went to a Chelsea game with Chelsea fans and played Sixes in Fulham before a game, and just really enjoyed it. So enjoyed the experience. Didn't think much of it, but went on the website and saw it as a franchise a few weeks later, and made some inquiries, and a journey that was going to be Exeter, then Reading, ended up in Bristol. We found the site in Bristol, and opened last October.
Oh wow! Okay, so just the passion for sport runs through that theme of leisure and hospitality.
Things that we enjoy and things we would want to go out and do, we
have turned into a business.
We open, we like it. Someone else probably will. So,
Great. And of course, we connected last October around the time of launches Sixes here in Bristol. What made you, I suppose, feel that you needed to collaborate with a marketing agency, and what were your ambitions around that launch? What were you hoping to get out of that launch activity?
So, brand awareness, essentially. We had issues where we couldn't announce that we were opening until literally the day before we opened. So we normally, with these businesses, you have 6 to 8 weeks before where you're building the brand and building awareness that you are opening, and bookings are coming in, and you're filling your slots. We could only announce the day before and open bookings the day before. Gosh. So we needed a quick way of getting the message out that we were there. So we approached a couple of agencies, and then they came to the launch, and Zoe won the contract because of her cricket skills in the net.
Don't want to brag.
We used you guys to get the message out that we were there, raise brand. So we we're the franchise owners of Sixes Bristol. Sixes themselves have got 14 other sites, so largely populated in London. So brand awareness in those areas is good, but brand awareness in Bristol wasn't there. So that was what we approached you guys to help with.
It was such an important time of year as well, wasn't it? It was sort of mid-October, so getting the Christmas bookings.
Yeah, we felt we were a little bit late even for the Christmas bookings, and I think that was the case. But we certainly got in a very good number. We had a great December, but it was to get the message out quickly that we were there and we were available for those Christmas bookings. Yeah.
And of course, we've seen experiences grow in bars, and Bristol is a hub full of students, young people. We know that Gen Z, want to mix an experience with their drinking. Just alcohol-related experiences aren't enough for them anymore. So it feels like a really strong proposition. But of course, coming to a city like Bristol brings with it a huge amount of competition. Yeah. What were your... I suppose, did you have any apprehensions around, how it might land in a saturated market?
Yeah, definitely. I guess the what we were weighing up is we had options to do it somewhere where there wasn't as many corporates and those businesses, but there was less competition. But we settled on Bristol because of the amount of corporates there are, because of our confidence in the offering. And like you say, I think the stat is like 30% of people from that age don't drink now, so they need activity when they're going out. You can't just go and sit in a bar anymore. So we felt like Bristol was the best option for us.
So Zoe, you led the marketing strategy for Adam. Of course, influencers was not the whole strategy. It was a fully integrated marketing strategy, which involved a number of different channels, outdoor, social, as well as media relations as well, and influencers forming a part of that. Why were influencers so integral to your approach, and what value were you really hoping to get out with them?
Yeah, so influencers were a really important part of the approach. We know that so influencers do come under earned media, so that's everything from media relations, and they're actually becoming a growing part of this. And we know that earned media is 4 times more trusted than paid or other sides of that. So things like paid social or paid ads, we really wanted people to trust the brand as they didn't have any awareness of it before, and really get that message out and get that message out quick. So getting the content from influencers and collaborating with them, we wanted to make a big bang. So we knew we wanted the bookings to come in and get them in quickly, so we did this launch event. So it was a really good way to get content out and get a lot of content out all at once, and I think it worked really well.
Yeah, it did,
and we did see the bookings coming in after this. We also know that influencers are trusted by their audiences, so it was really important for us to choose the right influencers. And here at Purplefish, we do our due diligence. We have a lot of those relationships already. So looking for the right influencers who are going to connect with the brand, who are actually going to enjoy it. And also Sixes is really interesting because there's a lot of different types of people that would be interested. Things like your general sort of lifestyle influencers, groups of people and corporates, and also families, which was kind of a USP. So having the right types of influencers for them, so we can really do our research around that.
And also when the influencers come, the footage inside the nets looks really good, because when people just hear cricket, they don't necessarily know what to expect. And you might think you have to like cricket to enjoy it, but when they see videos and it's basically smashing balls against the screen, they're like, oh, that's quite funny even if you don't like cricket.
Exactly. I think we really wanted to come to get the experience across. So that's why influencers were so important there.
It's that user-generated content, isn't it? And people do trust that more authentic, less polished content that comes from a third party, so much more than what you're putting on your website, which might be, a high value video, which is right from a brand hero piece of content, but actually, is that the experience people are going to get when they come and come to your bar on a Thursday evening? People question that nowadays. People are a bit more savvy, unfortunately. So interestingly, I think there's a bit of a common misconception in the marketplace around influencers only really being valuable when it comes to selling consumer goods or experiences. But actually, B2B businesses and brands, how can they use influencers, and what's the value for them in this channel?
Yeah, so B2B is actually a really important part of influencers. We know that LinkedIn is a growing channel, and there are a lot of LinkedIn influencers in the business space, in the property space, and all sorts of B2B businesses. We also know that B2B, you're still selling to a person, and their audiences are on social media. So it's really important you're still reaching your audience by with influencers.
Quite a good way to bring a sort of human touch to some of those corporate messages.
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah, no, it is. And B2B is growing on TikTok as well. You'll often see B2B brands as all over TikTok now as well. I think Hootsuite did a really good B2B campaign a couple of months ago. They were launching their 2024 report, and they used a variety of influencers, sort of business influencers, for their campaign to launch it.
When it comes to using influencers, particularly in a launch, you mentioned brand awareness and getting the name out there being really important, but ultimately, there is an investment involved in influencer marketing. Some require payment, and even if they don't, you're inevitably going to be giving away your resources, your drinks, your food, and etc. on your venue. How do you help brands measure that impact? Because that's probably something that brands will be grappling with: cost versus value.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the biggest questions we hear from brands. Like, influencers are great. It's great that they can post about our content, but actually, what's the return on investment, and how do you actually measure that? Obviously, with Sixes, it was brand awareness and bookings. So we did have codes for all the influencers that were unique to them, and that you can track that. I think for any brands it is having the tracking, so whether that's tracking links to the website or tracking links from social media, making sure you have that plan in place beforehand before you give the influencer the brief. And also in a longer term, it does come under the whole marketing strategy and the longer brand awareness. I think having choosing the right influencers and making sure that they are connected to the brand, and they'll on a longer term they'll still share it, and they'll still want to be a part of it. And also, having the right influencers and making sure that they have the right audience, because we saw a lot of engagement after the initial launch event from their audience saying that they wanted to go and that they would come, and people saying that they had come and they really enjoyed it in the few weeks and months afterwards. So sort of measuring from the start, measuring the bookings and the tracking to the website, and then all the way through to the longer relationships and bookings in the months afterwards.
And I guess one thing that our audience are probably also grappling with, we know not all influencers are created equal, and what you get out of them, sometimes you might get better value out of them than others. Also, reality is the value you get out of them, the fact that it is a third party talking about your brand, means that there's equally very little control over what they decide to say, what they decide to put out there. Did you have nervousness around that, Adam? And how did you feel about, embracing this new channel? You said you hadn't used it before.
No, it's not something we'd done before with the other businesses, so it was new to us, and there definitely was some apprehension. But it was clear to us that this was a good way to get message out quickly that we were there. We felt it was a numbers game. They come, and sometimes you'll get some really good content out of it. Sometimes you'll get a little snippet here and there. But, and it is, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But it's the overall ability to get the message out quickly that you're there, we felt it was worth it to us.
Yeah. And how do you help brands harness that power? I suppose, supporting them to encourage influencers to follow our messaging as much as possible, while providing them the freedom to create content that's aligned to their own personal brands.
Yeah, so it's really important that you have that plan and that strategy in place, knowing what you want from the influencers, so sort of having that discussion and what we expect from the influencers as well, and having that open conversation. So we knew that we wanted bookings and we wanted them to spread the word, and I think we put a clear brief in place with that, and I think that's what we had in our collaborations.
I think that's what gave us some comfort as well, because we weren't sure how it would work, and you said no, we talked to them about this is what we want them to focus on, or this is, and then you have a follow-up afterwards. What did you enjoy it? What do you plan on putting it out? And so the fact that there was ongoing conversations throughout the process definitely gave some comfort as well.
I think it was great, because we have a lot of those relationships already in Bristol, being so close to us, and we've worked with a lot of them before, so we sort of had that insight, knowing which ones that would be perfect for you, and which ones would create the best content.
And I suppose what I hear quite a lot in the market is people feeling that the influencers are great. Of course, that people see them on their feed, and they often will try something they're recommending. But if it's quite a short-term strategy, and Boss Finesse recommending an eatery, for example, people might go and see it in the week or a couple of weeks following that, but then it will be forgotten. It's only on the feed for a day or two. Have you felt the long-term impact of influencers?
I guess that's hard to measure, but I think we have definitely seen an increase in brand awareness, and that has to be in part to the influencers. I think what you were saying is true, but obviously you hope they then come and use the product themselves and form their own opinion and enjoy it, and then they'll tell 5 people, and then off you go. The word spreads.
There was certainly a lot of buzz amongst them at the launch event. Lots of them promising to come back and bring friends, which was always nice to hear.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and you're selling a good experience, so that helps. That helps. How is business going? How are things going since the launch?
Like we said, December we were nervous. We'd miss a lot of the Christmas bookings, but we were pleasantly surprised with December, and I think we'll have a better December this year, because we've already had some inquiries for corporates in December, and given that we weren't open for another 5 months last year, so it shows how early those bookings come in. And then Jan and Feb, again, we were pleasantly surprised. We thought they might be a bit of a hard slog, because obviously in hospitality they're not known for being good months, but we had a good number of corporate bookings in through those months. I think March and April we were a little bit affected by the very sunny weather, which was lovely to enjoy, but we haven't got any outdoor space, so I don't think people necessarily wanted to be inside. I think people wanted to be outside, which I totally agree with, and I was on board with that. So we're very happy with where we are for this half term and looking forward.
Interesting around that trend in January and February, I guess, you being an experience, perhaps, something that people can come and enjoy when they don't necessarily want to be going out and having lots of drinks, for example, in dry January. Is a trend that you can capitalise on in the years to come. Right, we are at our final section for today, and this is where we try and offer our viewers and our listeners a top tip that they can take away and put into action in their marketing planning. So Adam, what top tip could you give our audience in terms of embracing influencers?
I'll do 2 if that's okay.
Great.
So don't be preoccupied with follower numbers. I think you can have an influencer come that's got 50,000 followers, but they might only have 500 in your local area. Those sort of smaller influencers that have got a more localised following are very important as well. And the second one is make sure your team are on board. So from your GM all the way down to everyone on the front of the house, that they want to make this influencer feel welcome. The chef used to at Sixes was a bit frustrated about giving away free food every now and then, but once you realise that's part of your marketing effort, I think it's really important, and to have the team on board is great.
Yeah, and I guess if you get that value back, it's probably quite a good investment. In
exactly,
fact,
yeah.
I think it's a good point about the geo-targeting as well, particularly for an experience. Really understanding where that audience is based. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Zoe, do you have a top tip for our audience?
Yeah, I think my top tip would be to have a clear brief in place with both client and also the influencers, making sure that everyone's on the same page. So sort of doing the due diligence beforehand on our part, making sure that we have the right influencers, and also making sure that they know what they're creating and what their deliverables are, and getting the most out of the collaboration.
Brilliant. Well, thank you very much, Adam, for joining us on the sofa. Zoe, thank you very much for coming down. If, like me, you are intrigued to find out more about Sixes Social Cricket, and indeed if you'd like to book on for a social during the summer or get ahead with your Christmas bookings, they're already, I believe, going fast, don't forget to check out Sixes Social Cricket, and you can find out more information and book a party there. If you have enjoyed the show, please do follow and subscribe us. Purple POV is available via Apple Podcasts as well as Spotify, and you can view and subscribe on YouTube if you'd like to see the video version. And if you're interested in finding out more about how to really reap the benefits of influencer marketing, don't forget to download our latest white paper, Influencer Marketing 101, via the Purplefish website.